management or ownership of this station.
Oh, and then we can minimize this?
It's time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry and Jason Bible. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today.
Welcome to the show.
Get ready. The guys that will put your fears behind you are on the air now. They're taking calls at 713-785-1817. Toll free 877-881-0271. Here's Tom and Jason.
Welcome to the show. Tom and Jason are in the studio live together. Welcome to the show. 713-785-1817. Right Path Real Estate Radio. You found us. So if you're listening now, you found us. So we have a weekend retreat this weekend. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned that a couple of times. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. You know, apparently in the Eventbrite, it was not the start time and end time was not in there when people signed up. So if you're signed up already, just know it's all day Friday. I think we start. In fact, we're going to do the show live from class on Friday. And so people that are going to tune in on Facebook, they'll actually get a chance to watch the first hour of the class live.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think how we're going to do that. I think
because we're going to have headsets on, right?
Yeah, I think one of us, like I'll have the headset on or you'll have the headset on, and then we'll be walking around. Well, we can't really walk around. So I think one of us is going to be on the headset and kind of talk about what's going on, and then the other one will be actually teaching the class.
I'm sure we'll figure it out Thursday night.
We will figure out. Yeah, that's. You know, I haven't even drug all this stuff over there, but it's literally going to be figured out Thursday night. But they've dropped a Cat 5 line for us, so we can run from the conference center. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm pumped up. So we got the weekend retreat this weekend. I just sent out another email, T-minus 2 days. If you guys want to sign up, go to rightpathrealestate.com or send Jamie an email, jamie@rightpathrealestate.com. It's going to be a great class. It is going to be. It'll be the last one that we do. It'll be the only 3-day class we do this year, and it'll be the last one that we do this year before 2017, where we start making some pretty big changes in 2017. So that's what we got going on. One of the things that you and I have been talking about the last couple of days, and it's something I think you and I independently have been thinking about, and we can't announce the name of the product, because we haven't bought the domains yet.
But it's really I think it's going to be something like the Millionaire Project or something like that, because we've come up with a system. We think that we could take almost anyone that is willing to make changes in their life and over a 10-year period of time, which if you look at how long, if you've ever read The Millionaire Next Door, which, and you study what, the media shows us what millionaires are supposed to look like, right? They look like rappers, they look like athletes.
That's like right, yeah. They drive big fancy cars.
Right.
Just like all of our private lenders.
Yeah, but they're those are people that are typically, they make $3 million a year and they spend $3.2 million a year.
That's right.
Not counting taxes. And so when that gravy train of high income stops, then most of them don't have a plan B on that income. But if you look at The Millionaire Next Door, that book, it talks about that most millionaires, and went out and studied, you would never recognize, walking down the street, you would not recognize that a person's got $1 million, because more of them drive a Ford F-150 than anything else.
That's right.
Now, that's not saying that everybody that drives a Ford F-150 is a millionaire.
Well, there's a great study, and I reference it on Facebook every now and then, and I cannot find it. It comes out once a year, and it's usually around the first quarter, and one of my favorite websites produces it, and they put so much content out there, it's hard to search by. But you can actually tell people's credit score by the type of car they drive.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's the classics. It's the Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, Honda CR-V. I mean, it's all that kind of stuff. And in Texas, there's a higher propensity for folks that drive Ford F-150s. But now, that's not to say that 100% of people that buy those things, but more than likely, right? There's a statistical significant number of those folks that have a higher.
Well, most of them don't live in $1 million houses.
No,
most of them live in a house that's around the median, income and or median household for the for the area.
That's a good. I had forgotten that little stat. Sarah and I are shopping for houses right now, and we're right around the median home price. Yeah, real shocker there, right?
Yeah.
So.
But really, that our idea is that we have a system that we think that over a 10-year period of time, if people will implement this and stay disciplined, that in 10 years they'll be a millionaire starting at zero.
Well, what's interesting is it goes back to when folks ask me, well, how did you start your business? I'm like, well, I just quit my job and we start. And we're like, no, how did you start from the beginning? And I was like, oh, so you want to know how the whole how we structured our family in such a way that we were able to do this,
right?
And so that's when I realized it was like, okay, so there are so many people out there that literally are starting at square one,
right.
like square zero almost. I mean, it's kind of the classic. You'll hear somebody say, well, can I do real estate with no money or no credit? And then I always ask, well, why do you need to do it that way?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, because I have no money or no credit. Okay, if you can't run your family business,
right.
you're not going to be able to run a real estate business. So you've got to fix what your credit and money situation is, because you're adding a business on top is just going to exacerbate the problem.
Right.
So what is it in your family life that you don't have credit? Now, not having an income obviously is an issue.
That's a problem.
But if you're out, you've got to go out and get the newest whatever, run up your credit card debt, have all these
right.
lease luxury cars. Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry. Getting a business for you is a really bad idea.
Yeah, right.
Like a bank handing you like $1 million line of credit is not going to happen.
Not a good risk.
Which, speaking of which, yesterday I was over at our bank, and typically, when I go to the bank, I end up making deposits, withdrawals, whatever, and then end up just hanging out with the bankers in their offices. So we were doing that for like an hour and a half yesterday, just talking about interest rates and all that. And so Sarah and I are shopping for this new house, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm doing the math, and at a 3.75% 30-year fixed rate mortgage, $50,000 on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is about $230 a month.
Yeah.
Meaning we can add an extra $50,000 in purchasing power for $230 a month. How insane is that?
That's a lot. Well,
it's insane.
But because of that, though, the question then becomes: is that $50,000 of equity that you add? Is that really a true $50,000 of equity that you're adding? Because if interest rates rise,
right.
that value is going to fall right back out of it because it's a monthly payment play, right?
Possibly. There's two sides to that. There's one is, hey, if interest rates rise, you have less purchasing power, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the flip side of that is, well, if interest rates rise, does risk for those loans open up? In other words,
so you have more people competing.
So you got more buyers, right? So we were having that exact same discussion yesterday.
And what do the bankers say?
Well, the bankers are just
I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're so risk averse, right? It's like, and it was so funny. One of them said, I used to do the interest rate play with a little arbitrage, and they're like, you can't even do that now. It's so boring. Rates are so low. Mm-hmm. So in any case, when we look at what's it take to be successful, what's it take to build $1 million portfolio, it doesn't take that much. It doesn't. You don't have to build this huge empire like we've built. You only have to do a couple of things a year.
I think we're going to build a book and a class on how to do it in 10 years.
Because it's not. It's kind of like when you read some of the Millionaire Next Door, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, some of Dave Ramsey stuff. There's all this stuff out there, and the fascinating thing is that they give you some guidelines on stuff to do, but it's never prescriptive enough to say, do this.
Yeah, this is your next action step. Right?
Yeah, and then you do.
Yeah, if you're stuck at this step, you cannot move on beyond this step which is really, I love our whole Right Path Real Estate and the mindset behind it and all that about climbing Everest and things like that. When you're training for Everest, it's like you can't go on to, base camp level 2 until you've acclimated to base camp level 1. Mm-hmm. There's certain things you got to accomplish. You got to check. And I'm sure you were talking about Boy Scouts and Weeblos and all that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, you got to do this and you got to do this, and we're going to build.
Yeah,
we're building skill sets.
Correct.
It's fascinating to me when how can I put this? The flavor of the week blows into town. The real estate educator flavor of the week. And they say, you're going to be a millionaire. Ah, and they got all the lights and the songs and people are running up and down. Yeah, and you're like, what is music? And you and I used to go to all those, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
And then you start talking to some of these people, and they're part of the problem is, and I don't want to get into politics, although I'll tell you what, the Monday before election.
Yeah, we're going to be talking politics.
Oh, I'm going to be talking politics. It's going to get, I'm going to lock the door. It's going to get ugly in here. But
hey, we got to mention you're listening to Right Path Real Estate
That's right.
Radio. 713-785-1817 is our call-in number. 713-785-1817. Hey, Will, welcome on Facebook. And if anybody has any questions about finding deals, funding deals, marketing deals, then you need to either type them in on Facebook or you need to call in at 713-785-1817. So you were saying.
all right, so to go back to some of the issues associated with personal finance when you go to one of these seminars.
Right.
Actually, Jamie and I, we were talking about this because she used to work at a real estate place, and so we're sitting down having
A
this
real estate education place, right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we were having this conversation. They would get all these people that literally have got no money and no credit.
Right.
And they're like, I realize that you can do it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of steps.
Yeah, right.
Before you can get to that.
And they would recommend books to read.
Right, some
Yeah.
books to read, but
very few people don't read.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, but the other issue is, and I think we were to segue. We don't want to segue into politics, but we'll dip our toes in it. Part of the challenges we have now is people are so financially illiterate.
Right.
I mean, they're just. You and I were talking. I know you've got this thing right now with when we looked up the Fortune 500 and how many we could have bought with all the debt that we've accrued. So I was listening to a guy this morning, and he said. If I were in charge of the national debt, what I would do is I would go in with $22 trillion and buy 50% of the equities that are traded on the G20. So essentially, the top 20 nations, I would buy 20% of or 50% of the companies that are inside those G20 nations. I would buy essentially what you're doing is I would buy their productivity.
Right.
And so then he went into all the numbers on how we could pay it down and all this stuff. It's a great plan. But
you ask the average person. I mean, like I ask.
They don't even know what G20 is.
Well, they don't know what G20 is. Or they, I ask a person that I feel like is, of above average intelligence, has a decent education and all that. Hey, how many people in the U.S.? And they're like, I don't know, about 4 billion. And I'm like, that's on our planet. I mean, come on. It's like if you don't even know that we have 300 million approximately people in our country, it's like. Yeah, numbers are not your thing.
Well, but the numbers start to get so big too.
They do. Mm-hmm.
So the problem is that when we talk about when we sit down with somebody and they say, "Well, you guys bought 200 houses, but I can't see myself buying 200 houses."
Yeah, it's not about buying 200.
It's like, well, can you buy one?
Yeah.
We didn't start with 200.
Yeah.
We bought one.
We bought one. We bought 7 in our first 3 months, essentially. Hey, I hear the bumper music. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. 713-785-1817. We'll continue this on the other side of the break.
Hey, I think you ought to go into your analogy that, can you see yourself being a millionaire? Can you do that?
Yeah. Well, because that's what I see is that this class is going to be part Tony Robbins, but it's not all Tony Robbins. I mean, Tony Robbins got some great things, but it's also going to be part Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
It's going to be part Steve Covey.
Yeah.
It's going to be part Robert Kiyosaki. It's going to be part really
successful real estate investors.
Gary Keller.
Our community.
Yeah.
I mean, when you stop and think about all the different components that this is going to be built from to be able to do it. So
Real estate investors.
Even if you were to take it from
you're
10
not
years to
familiar
3
with
years,
Quest
it's like
IRA,
3
Ginger,
years.
congratulations,
let me tell you
getting
what
your
you're
deal closed.
missing.
3 years is a
We've
long
got
time.
Free weekly educational
All right,
classes,
Ginger, we need to get you some
networking
more money on those
opportunities,
deals.
and the
That's the next
ability to
step. You
tap into
completed
trillions
it.
of
Is this your
dollars
first
for
deal,
real
or
estate
I don't think it
investing
is.
deals.
I think you've
Come
done
by
a
our
couple of deals
office or
before, if
join
I
us
remember.
remotely
Well, and she
as
was
we simulcast all of our
putting on
educational
Facebook yesterday. She was
classes
buying a
every
house
Tuesday morning
for
and
$20,000
evening.
all in
For more
Amarillo,
information,
a rental
call
property.
us at
Apparently you can buy
1-855
livable rental properties in Amarillo.
IRAs,
That's
or
interesting.
visit
Yeah.
our website at questira.com.
That's the
Ginger's
good
not
news.
in Amarillo.
Yeah, she actually is.
Oh, is she? Okay. I couldn't remember if she was in.
Yeah, the good news is you can buy a house for $20,000 in Amarillo. The bad news is
You
it's
can
in
buy a house.
Amarillo.
Yeah,
I'm
but you know
just
what?
kidding, Ginger. Amarillo's a nice place to visit.
But you know what? Amarillo might be one of those markets that's really good for owner finance.
Yeah, might be.
Just because the prices of the houses are such that it's really hard to get a mortgage for. I don't know. I could pull up I could pull up some data. Look.
Yeah.
We're in marketing mode here in Houston House Buyers. We're doing all
Are you
kinds of
looking for an
marketing.
investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes
I
in turnkey
absolutely love
remodeling
the
of
I told you
single-family
so's with
investment
Fast
properties,
Track.
whether it's
Yeah.
a
You know, when
flip,
someone's
rehab,
like,
or a
well,
rental
Fast
rehab.
Track was
No more
10%
managing it
more.
yourself.
And then they go
No more
back
doing the
and they're
work
hiring
yourself.
some like
Fast
one truck
Track
Yeah,
chuck
right,
and their
does
job
digital.
completely
Yeah,
implodes.
right.
And then I'm heartless enough to just say,
I
told you to hire them. It costs 10% more. It would have been done and on the market. You would have saved money by then.
Trusted by
Hey, Ginger,
individuals and
you can get out
businesses
without
across the
doing
great
all
state of
that.
Texas. Whether you're searching for
What'd
the
she
best
say?
auto
She
insurance
said, yeah,
in
that's why I'm
Fort
doing
Bend,
this,
a
to
flood
get out.
policy for a Galveston Beach property,
Hold on, let me
coverage
see.
for
It's
your
not
rental and
refreshing.
investment
Okay,
homes
there
in
it goes.
Houston. Texas General Insurance Agency.
No, actually, you know what?
understands your unique needs. Throughout the Lone Star State,
Yeah, I had a
their
family member
experienced and
that
trusted
was in
independent
Amarillo,
agents offer
you know,
guidance to clients
one of the
on
grandmas.
risk-based needs associated
So
with
to go
auto
visit
and
grandma
home,
in
investment
Amarillo, that was
properties,
a
commercial,
you know,
and
That's a
entertaining
drive.
time. Yeah, it
Their
is,
commitment to
right.
Quality and service
Yeah.
allows
So-
them to compare
and that was
multiple
before I was a
markets,
pilot,
average, and
so-
price to
Yeah,
give
so
you
Cameron
the
and I
best possible
are driving
value.
back from the Boy
Texas
Scouts
General
thing, and we were in
Insurance Agency
Ganado,
appreciates
which
the
is south
opportunity
on
to
59,
learn
like
how
past
they can
Wharton.
work
Yeah,
with
mhm.
you.
And in
Call one of their
Victoria,
experienced agents
they have a
today,
commuter
713-622-5977.
airport.
Yeah, right.
It's $40.
That's
And there's a sign that says, you would have been there by now. So
Oh,
it's
really?
you park there for free.
Okay.
You take a little commuter plane over to Hobby. You jump on your plane from Hobby and fly wherever you want. It's $40.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, maybe I'll do that even from Sugar Land. Just drive
Right.
down to Victoria,
Right.
free parking, get in there, fly to
Yeah.
to Bush or fly. Actually, I think they only fly into Hobby. Fly into Hobby and then take your connecting flight.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's pretty slick.
Wow.
We got 30 seconds, fellas.
All right.
That help people like you
It's for those guys that have some ranches and stuff down
Yeah, right.
59.
That makes sense.
Has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe.
If we had
Reduce a
control
large
over the
portion
board,
of
we'd
your
have to
debt
come in
now.
on
Call
Amarillo by
National Debt
morning.
Relief
Yeah, right.
at 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020.
All right,
This
guys.
is
Hot
Business
mics in
1110.
5, 4,
4, 3, 2.
Shut up, Tom. 2, 1. Here we go.
Welcome back, Right Path Real Estate Radio. So, if unfortunately the people who are listening live on the radio, they don't get to hear all the things that Facebook folks are getting to hear. So I'm giving Nikki a hard time as she's doing the live mic counting down. So you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817, 713-785-1817. We are live on the Book of Faces at rightpathrealestate.com. I got a phone call from somebody up in Oregon that was referred to us about getting our business plan. I said, hey, that's reserved for our students. And I said, do you listen to our radio show? And he goes, no, I don't listen to your radio show. I'm in Oregon. And I'm like, yeah, but our radio show goes out all over the country. So you can listen on iHeartRadio. You can listen in on TuneIn. You can actually listen, live on the Book of Faces because we're broadcasting there. Any place else? They can find us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel now. Is that right?
Yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. We've also got, we're on TuneIn and iHeart.
And the podcast on Business 1110 KTEK.
And on, what is the podcast? It's actually run out of, I can't remember. It's not iTunes. but
SoundCloud?
it's SoundCloud.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is
We make
no
a good team.
Yeah, there is no shortage of y'all being able to listen to us on the
Right.
radio.
Yeah,
for
being-
better or worse.
Being in another state is not an excuse to not listen. So, well, hopefully we're adding value. So, anyhow.
All right, let's go back to what you and I were chatting about a couple of days ago, where we actually sat in my office for like more than 10 minutes, which is pretty unusual these days.
Right.
But so you'd said one of the things we've been discussing is, hey, how do you develop we've been going over and over when we chat with, a lot of this comes from when we talk to other real estate investors, and they're like, how did you get there? How did you start? I mean, I don't have the same kind of background. Okay, well, let's put together a plan and see what that looks like to get you where you need to go. And one of the things I found fascinating is when you ask someone, hey, do you think you can be worth $1 million?
Yeah, a lot of people don't see that. In fact, I won't name anybody, but I had this conversation, and the conversation started out with, hey, do you want to go to heaven when you die? Which is kind of a controversial subject. And their answer was...
Well, we're on a Christian business station,
Yeah, I
so I
get
don't
it.
think anybody's going to care.
But they say stay away from politics and religion, right? But their answer was, well, I don't even know if it exists, and blah, blah, blah. So, we got into that. But my theory is there's a lot of people who want to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right? But carry that forward... that a lot of people want to be a millionaire, but they really don't believe that they, one, know how to do it, or number two, have the skill set. Even if they knew how, it's a little bit like, I know how to climb Mount Everest. I think I do, but I don't have the skill set to do it because I'm not in shape. I'm 50 pounds overweight, or not me personally, but I'm.
Yeah.
But if I'm overweight and I have bad knees or whatever, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I don't have the skills to do it. I have to nutritionally get my. I'm not acclimated to altitude, all those kind of things, right? So you can picture that goal that, like, do I think it's possible? Yeah, maybe, but I think most people discount it like very, very quickly. And so what if you had a systematic process that would, if you followed this, roadmap essentially. I mean, it's like Lewis and Clark, they found. I was firing up my computer this morning. There's a picture of the Pacific from supposed to be like but it was colorized from when Lewis and Clark first saw the Pacific, and then how much that's changed, since they did it. But it's like if you read the stories about Lewis and Clark and how long it took to reach the Pacific and what they had to go through to get there. I mean, it was some tough sledding.
Well, I agree with the analogy, except under one exception, and that is, it's really not that hard.
It's not now, but when
you first start out, it's like,
and here's the thing is that, what people don't realize is that there are people that have gone before you that can show you that path. One of the things that I learned early on is that success leaves clues. Is that I don't have to figure it out all by myself. I've got to talk to people that have been there, done that, and say, hey, if you were starting over today, now that you're 20 years down the road or 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road, what would you have done differently knowing what you know now? And it's like, man, there's some real nuggets in that. There's things that they would have done earlier that they waited to do because they weren't sure it was going to work, or there's things that they go, I tried that and I wouldn't do that because that was a big waste of time.
Probably a good example of that. If you want to see the Pacific now, you just jump on Southwest Airlines, zip over there, done.
Or Google.
Or Google. Or just Google it up and look at
Google Earth.
Go to Google Earth.
Yeah.
So it's maybe that's the better analogy too. It's like, someone's already blazed that trail. Right. You're just following, which is not a single path trail anymore. It's a highway.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we can show you the highway to get there. It's not that hard. I mean, to build.
Yeah, and then you get to ask, hey, it's like if you want to see the Pacific, what do you want your journey to be like? I mean, because you can get there by satellite on Google Earth instantaneously. If you just want to see it, like quote unquote, see it with your eyes. If you want to smell it also, I mean, fastest way to get there, let's, private jet, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go. So do you have the money to do that? And then it's a little bit like, what are your resources in terms of how fast can you go? How much time do you have? Or you could bike it if you wanted to, right? That would be a totally different experience.
I just bought a 2005 Honda Element with 165,000 miles.
You could do it that way.
We're going to have to drive it, or we can ride the bike, but it is going to take a couple weeks.
Yeah, right. I know, but you could rent an RV. You could charter a plane. You could get on Southwest Airlines. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you could get there depending on how fast you want to get there, what kind of experience you want to be, and that's where another thing where these real estate education courses, I don't think they typically say, hey, what are you looking to have 5 years from now look like for you? To really sit down and say, hey, maybe you don't want to see the Pacific Ocean. Maybe Miami Beach is more your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
I hear it's okay.
I don't know if you really, do you like watching the sun rise over the water, or do you like it setting over the water?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is like East Coast versus West Coast, right? So I don't know. Everybody has got an opinion, because people that live on the West Coast, that most of them would not swap places with people on the East Coast, and vice versa, right?
Right. Well, and if you go back to another one of your points, and that is, what do you have? And it really comes down to resource management. How much time, how much capital do you have? How much access to capital do you have? And then how are you able to build your business from there? There are a lot of folks that we work with that don't want a 200 house a year business. They want to do a dozen or so houses. They want to pick up some rental properties. And we have some people that just, hey, I want to buy 1 or 2 rental properties a year. I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty easy. In fact, Mr. Famous came into my office last week. He hates that nickname, by the way. So he came into the office last week, and he said, I'm buying too many houses.
Oh, wah. Everybody, a collective wah.
Yeah, I'm buying too many houses, and my financing, my Fannie Mae financing.
Yeah, he's reached his limit.
Well, the problem is you can't have too many in other loans, because they actually count against those other loans, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, I'm outstripping my long-term 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. And he said, so I only want to buy, a house every other month. And I said, okay, well,
But there are other financing products out there that are not Fannie Mae that are longer term financing that have just come out.
The problem is though those are going to count against his Fannie Mae properties.
Oh, got it. So he's got to have all of his Fannie Mae's in place first.
That's the reason I can't buy any 30-year fixed rate, because when Fannie pulls up the question they ask is, do you own more than 25% of an LLC that has debt finance properties? I'm like, yeah, we have 30 or 40 at a time.
That's why you can't buy through Fannie Mae. But there are some new products that are out there that have that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he could finish out his Fannie Mae and get those filled up. And once those are in place, then whatever else he does after that, he just won't be able to use a Fannie Mae product again from that point forward. And Ginger brings up a question on Facebook. I need to learn about owner financing thing. My marketing has brought me a bunch of landlords, and I don't want to wholesale all of them if there's a way for me to keep them. Well, I think the best way to keep them is through buy and hold. And don't owner finance them, because then you're ultimately not keeping it. Now, it is another exit strategy, but if you really want to keep the property, just rent it out. In fact, at the event that I was at last Wednesday, Eddie's a pretty famous guy around here, because he's only bought about 1,700 houses in the last 1,300 houses in the last 17 years.
Actually, between him and Richard on stage, it's got to be over 3,000.
It's a ridiculous
3,500 houses, something like that.
And so what he said is, hey, he's gotten away from doing owner financing, and he's keeping them for rentals. And there's a couple of reasons why. One is the CFPB, that the origination on the owner finance play, that there's some things that you can really do to mess that up. He said the other thing is
I'll tell you, if you're going to any classes that teach owner finance and they're not talking about the consumer protection laws that came in last October,
be very leery.
Actually just get up and leave.
Just run
get
for the
up
exit door. Just
and
ask,
leave.
If they have a guarantee on their class and you can get a refund, race for the refund
and
door.
I wouldn't go into, well, if you only owner finance less than 4 but more than 1, don't believe any of that nonsense. Just get up and leave.
Because it's going to be a very expensive lawsuit, and you may win in the end, but you're gonna lose all of your profit in that deal. But the second thing he said is that he has had so many experiences where he sold something owner finance. Somebody puts a relatively small down payment down, and he said the only way that he'll do an owner finance play now is if it's a massive down payment. You get something like a minimum of $20,000, because he said what happens so often now is people will file for bankruptcy, and this is their homestead. And he said you're
never getting it.
They're not making payments for a minimum of a year, and it's not a 30-day eviction like it is with a rental. You're talking about a year that you're not getting any payments, and it takes a minimum of a year to get them out.
Well, and I think owner finance has its place, and I think it's in the markets in which you can't get traditional 30-year financing.
We know some people that do owner financing very, very successfully. That's their business model, and they do it time and time and time again.
And it's really lower end properties,
and they limit their risk also because they're typically selling the paper as well.
That's right.
They liquidate the paper, so they're putting all that risk on the investor that's buying the paper.
All right, folks, this is Jason Bible and Tom Perry of Right Path Real Estate. We got a class coming up this weekend. Go to rightpathrealestate.com. Click on training, sign up for our class.
In fact, if you go to Facebook
all about it.
And you go to our Right Path page, there's a link right there on the Right Path page. Thank you, Jamie, for posting that. I assume that was Jamie.
Yeah, it's Jamie.
Otherwise,
it's not you or I.
It's the magical Facebook wizard. All right, you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817, 713-785-1817. I say it so fast, I have to say it twice.
Mic's off.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property?
I'm good.
Fast Track Remodeling at
No, I'm good.
832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties, whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab. We manage every aspect of a rehab from start to finish with a highly efficient, standardized process.
Over the last 5 years, Fast Track has completed over 500 projects, which has helped us create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at 832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Are you expecting to close accurately, on time, and with lots of communication on your home purchase? You've come to the right place. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer with Legacy Mutual Mortgage. Our goal is to give our borrowers and referral partners an amazing experience during the loan process. My team believes in putting people and culture before results. Our company concentrates on building those teams who operate with structure, process, and recognition for going the extra mile for you. This way, we have the energy to make this your best home purchase ever. Give us a call today to find out the simple steps to get started. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, the Hernandez team at Legacy Mutual Mortgage. Jennifer.legacymutual.com or call 713-579-3611. Again, jennifer.legacymutual.com. We can't wait to consult with you soon. NMLS 514497.
Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. NMLS 514497.
Did you know that there are over $24 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S.? Imagine if you could use someone's IRA to fund all of your deals. Well, you can. Quest IRA is based locally here in Houston, Texas. At Quest IRA, we offer retirement accounts that can be used to invest in real estate, promissory notes, private
I'll take
entities,
Excedrin
and
it's got
much
that
more.
caffeine and
Many
just
of our
carries that
clients
stuff right to the
loan money
brain. And
from their IRAs to
I don't
fund
like
real
pain
estate deals
medication
all
unless
over the country.
I'm required
we
to
don't
take
sell
it.
any investments or give
But,
advice. However, we do
I
hold
do-
free networking events, weekly education.
Oh, that's gotta be even faster
and
'cause it
free
absorbs real
consultations
quick.
with an IRA specialist. For more information, visit our website at questira.com or call us.
So I've got a home equity line of credit. Should I use that for buy and holds
IRAs
if
to tap into
one of the ignorant people when it comes to
$24 trillion in retirement accounts in the
yeah,
US,
that's
call
I wouldn't do
IRA
buy and hold.
at
I mean,
1-855-FUN-IRA.
Hey, what are the terms
Go
on
to
that
our website,
a home equity line of credit?
questira.com.
Like
Do
interest
your
rate
teeth hurt?
and
Do you have
time.
cavities or need your teeth cleaned? But
You know, when
won't
you gotta
go to
pay
the
it back,
dentist
or they
because you
just
don't
roll it
have
into a
dental
30-year
insurance?
mortgage.
Well, you don't have to wait any longer. Cypress Creek Family Dental offers the quality dental
The only
program
problem with
for
a
those
home
who don't
equity
have
line of
dental
credit is you're
insurance.
collateralizing
No
the place you
deductibles,
live.
no
Right. That's the only
maximums,
thing
and
that's
no
kind of
waiting periods.
kind of
It
scary.
includes
But
two cleanings
when you're
per
first starting
year, an
out,
exam, and a discount on all
I mean, I would
probably
personally
do
guarantee
flips
all.
with that before I would do a buy and hold with that.
1050. That's 281-440-1050.
Or you do a buy and hold with it and
Online
you
at
refinance out of it.
championspodcast.com.
Yeah.
Hello, Radio Land listeners. This is Ron Klinger, host of the Unleashed
30
Radio
seconds,
Hour.
guys.
Are you
Hey
looking for
Ginger, the
fresh,
great thing about that
uplifting,
though
engaging
is,
content that can help bring out
you
the
know,
best
we
of you
we
and your
can fix
organization?
ignorance.
Do you wanna
It's
unleash
actually
your
it's a lack of
potential and
education. It's not
potential
really
around
being
you?
stupid. It's
Well,
just a
join
lack of
me Thursday
education.
on Business
And so
1110,
the great thing about
KTEK.
not being
The
educated about
Unleashed
something
Radio
like this
Hour,
is
where
that
we
you can
tackle
learn
everyday
it.
challenges to
And,
effectively managing and growing your career and business.
So that's a good start.
For the Unleashed Radio
Pay
Hour
interest for
every
12 months
Thursday
and it rolls to
afternoon at
30 year.
3
Oh,
on
okay.
Business
Oh, okay.
1110 KTEK.
In fact, for the last year, I've been educating America on greatness.
All right, guys, here we go. Hot mics.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. Yeah, Jason and I are both in the studio today. It only happens once a week, and it doesn't happen every week out of the month. So there's
right.
one week a month that doesn't happen, so it's only 3 out of 4 weeks, I guess it is, on average.
I'll tell you, I threatened my wife that if Trump doesn't win, she gets Trump voice for a year.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be huge. Like the weekend retreat's going to be fantastic. Best weekend retreat ever.
Just make sure you leave that at home.
Oh, no, I think I'm going to be taking Trump with me.
Take Trump on the road, huh?
Trump is going on the road. She was actually telling me, there's this book I need to read, and we're going to put it on YouTube.
Sarah's posting.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So you guys might get comedy hour at the weekend retreat. So. In any case, so we were talking about seeing yourself as a millionaire. So there's part mindset, and I don't think it's one of these. It's not a mindset. It's more of a, hey, I don't think I can do it, when in reality you can. And then the second piece is, do you have the right path to take? Right, what is it I need to be doing every day, every week, every month, every year to ensure that I meet this goal?
Well, I find that people typically fall into one of 3 different camps. Either they realistically believe that they can do it. There's also some people that, they're so, motivated. Oh, I'm going to be a millionaire, But the problem is they want to try and do it in a year. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think that the things break down in terms of a system. Becoming a millionaire over a 10-year period of time, I think that's a realistic goal or plan for anyone that wants to start out on that trek.
Well, if you think about it, it's only $100,000 in net worth per year
of growth. Right. But you know what? When you stop and think about when you look at the statistics, you say it's only, but that's a really big deal, because when you look at what the average American retires on, which is less than $30,000 typically of total net worth, not counting their principal residence, right?
Yeah, and if you go back and look at what causes that, it's a lack of discipline. It's not a good, they don't have it. I was meeting with a lender one time, and he said, Jason, I can tell you have processes for everything. And I said, yes, I do. And I said, in fact, you're in step 2 of a process right now. And he kind of laughed. And he said, most people don't realize that business is a discipline.
Right.
And I thought, I'm totally stealing that, and I might not even credit you for it. He said, no, that's fine. You can use it. But business is a discipline. And if you're not disciplined, your success ratio goes to 0. You have to be disciplined. You have to make offers. You've got to do your marketing. You've got to network. You cannot be successful without discipline. You can't be healthy without discipline. You can't have a great family without discipline. If you're not a disciplined person, the likelihood of you being successful is 0. It's that simple. It is so simple. So when you put together, now, I don't think most people have a discipline. They do have a discipline problem, but I think most people don't know, what do I need to have discipline at? Like, what am I? Can someone just break it down to tell me what are the steps? And that's what I've got to do every single day. Now, I will tell you from our mastermind class and coaching folks that are in our weekend retreat, it's fascinating when you tell them, go do that. There's actually one guy, he calls in every now and then, and I haven't seen him for a month or two, but he runs into me, he goes, hey, Jason, hey, man, I listen to a radio show every day, and what should I do next? And I said, well, did you do what I told you to last time? No. I said, do you think my advice is going to be different?
Right, yeah.
And he goes, I know, man, but just, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. I know what you're trying to do. We've had this conversation about 6 times now.
Right.
You need to do this, and you need to do this, and a lot of it has to do with, you need to hike your little butt over to Quest IRA. You need to be in every single one of those networking events. Well, but I'm trying to do, I know what you're trying to do. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, you're trying to microwave a process that really is either a pressure cooker or a crock pot, really.
Yeah.
And most people, what they don't realize is that success is really, it's more like cooking with a crock pot.
Mm-hmm.
It's slow and methodical, and it's discipline, it's all that. One of the best guys that I've ever, he's not like the top 1 or 2, but he's up in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
A guy named Tim Sales, and first off, I love the name Tim Sales.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but he developed a disciplined process for making a sales presentation in direct sales, and his background is he was an underwater demolition team guy.
Ooh,
so he was the guy that would dismantle a bomb underwater. I mean, talk about a guy that has to follow the process in a very. You don't want to shortcut and skip a step and go, oops.
Yeah.
That's one of those that, like, following the process will save your life.
Yeah.
And imagine if people's financial discipline, if they took it to that level or an extreme to say, you know what, this is my life. I want to be able to follow it step by step by step by step. You can't microwave that process of undoing a bomb.
What's interesting is, I think one of the reasons we have so many high-powered accountants, engineers, business owners in our mastermind is because they recognize that, right?
Absolutely. There's a process, right?
Yeah, there's a right way to do this. There's a wrong way to do that. And these people are process-related people, and they're like, okay, so I have to do this, and then I have to do this. Yes. And then I have to call these people, and then we're going to do these offers, and then we're going to rehab a house like this, and then we're going to put it on the market. I mean, it's very process-driven. And I think if you are outside of that, if you think you're going to be the, shoot from the hip kind of guy, some of this stuff is certainly some that you need to make decisions quickly. Right. But business is not like that. It is a discipline. It's you do this.
Well, you look at who are the top chefs in America that, they follow a process. They know the food chemistry and things like that. But, when they're going to make a cake, when they're going to make a souffle, when they're going to make, a great entree meal or something like that, they follow a process from start to finish. They season the meat typically first, and then they start cooking it. They don't season it after they've cooked it, right? Because they want to sear the the meat. There's steps in a process to follow. If I wanted to become a great chef, I wouldn't just start buy a piece of meat and just throw some stuff on top of it and see what happens. I mean, why wouldn't you study the people that are already great at doing that and say, let's at least start with what are they doing that's making them successful, and then once you become an expert of your own, now you can start adjusting and tweaking and things like that, thinking outside of the box. But why create a new wheel when the wheel's already been created? And so it's just a matter of trying to start studying what's been successful already. And that's, I feel like what we teach is like, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? Or where do you want to be in 10 years? And then let's design a plan for you. And then what are the constraints? Like, Mr. Famous. His constraint right now, he's got a financing constraint. So we've got some solutions for that constraint. It's either raising private money and partnering with people like that, or it's the financing outside of the Fannie Mae products, things like that. So Ginger's talking about the same thing. She's got a financing constraint. If she's finding these deals, she's marketing directly to sellers. So she doesn't have a marketing problem. She's finding deals, right? She obviously doesn't have a sales problem either because she's getting the sellers to sign the contract. So, but her constriction, if you will, if I think of like a pipe that's flowing through, and now you've got a constriction, so you're getting some backflow there. How do we open up that pipe right there to let more deals flow through the pipeline? And where some people get stuck is in funding. That's why we talk about finding deals, funding deals, marketing deals. That it's a simple process.
It was interesting. We haven't shared this, but about a month ago, we had somebody in the Houston market who does about as many deals as we do a month reach out to us and said, "Hey, we got a problem, and I'm trying to grow my business, but I've got this problem."
Right.
And so we sat down, and in the span of about 45 minutes, I said, "You don't."
It was over lunch.
Yeah, it was over lunch. I said, "You don't have a sales and marketing problem. You got a financing problem." I said, "I can double your profit right," and it goes right to the bottom line. I mean, like that.
Yeah, imagine he makes on average about $18,000 a deal. And we could show him how to turn it. It wasn't quite a double. It was only to $35,000 a deal.
Yeah. So
we can only increase it by 95% without increasing the number of deals that you get.
And I said, you won't have to hire more people. You won't have to train more people. You don't have to
work harder.
If you tweak this one thing, and he just looks at it and goes, "Holy cow! I've talked to so many people, and they just don't." Within 45 minutes, we had identified the challenge that he had. But I'll tell you what, he wouldn't. No one would have been able to solve that for him because no one asked the first question. What are you trying to do, dude?
Right.
And then we asked him two questions, right? What are you trying to do? And then what is your most profitable side of your business?
Right.
And within 5 minutes, I said, and I asked him 3 times.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I said, that's not the most profitable part of your business.
Right.
You're not seeing this right. We turned it around, and then I said, if you do this, you will increase your profits by at least 90%. And we went through the numbers, and he goes, holy cow, I've talked to so many people, and they haven't. That was 45 minutes.
2 minutes.
So then he was like, so what do you guys talk about in your mastermind class? He's like, this is just lunch. I was like, well, I mean, I said, come to the weekend class, and I think he's going to be there this weekend. But, come to the weekend class, and we'll chat about mastermind. But that's the kind of stuff that if you've got a coach or mentor, and they're not sitting down with you and saying, hey, what is it you're trying to do? The map or the plan or whatever they're trying to sell you is not going to work. If you're trying to go to Disney World and they're taking you to the Smithsonian, you're not going to the right place, right? Yeah. So you've got to have a really honest discussion on where are we trying to go, where are we trying to get to, and is what they're telling you going to get you there? And that's where it's fascinating. Somebody had said, well, hey, Jason, are you guys going to talk about wholesaling at your weekend retreat? I'm like, yeah, maybe like 20 or 30 minutes. Well, I want to be a wholesaler. I'm like, well, what do you really want to be?
Why do you want to be a wholesaler?
Why do you want to be a wholesaler? Well, because I want to do this and I want to get some rental property. I'm like, okay, so you need to back into what you really want, then figure out if wholesaling will get you there. So that's the fascinating thing with the weekend retreat is it's like, look, we need to have an honest discussion about where you want to go, because where you want to go will dictate what you need to do to get there. In other words, you just don't start doing a bunch of activities. It's like, oh, I want to go to medical school, so I'm going to drop out of college and show up at a medical school. It's like, no, that's not how that works. You've got to go through the process. So in any case, we find that's where a number of folks fail. Not only they get started, but they don't know where they want to end up at. I was listening to a guy today that was talking about he was helping a young guy get out of a certain situation. And one of the things he said is you need escape velocity. And we'll talk a little bit more what that is when we get back from breaks. Jason Bible and Tom Perry, Right Path Real Estate.
713-785-1817.
Mike's off.
I'm convinced people don't call in when we're both here because they just want to sit there and listen the whole time.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Investor loans offering up to 100% financing are still available. You just have to know where to look. Look no further than Noble Mortgage. Noble Mortgage is a full-service mortgage company that's been helping investors since 2003.
Soon?
Noble Mortgage offers up to 100%
text.
financing to investors that covers purchase,
I'm sure we'll know on
repairs,
Facebook.
and closing
Yeah, right.
costs. In addition to private money, Noble Mortgage offers conventional loans,
We need,
FHA, and even no-income
We're live on
tax
Facebook.
loans for
Yeah,
both
that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
residential and commercial properties. Call and ask about our 5-point guarantee, which includes
we do.
free pre-qualifications within 2 business
You know what I'm
days.
thinking about doing? I'm
Call
thinking about doing a
713-680-8100
video for that position.
Or visit noblemoney.com.
Say, hey, look,
That's
this is the kind of person we're
noblemoney.com.
looking for.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We're hiring, by the
50 years
way.
experience in the
If
mortgage
anybody's
industry.
interested.
Call us
So-
today, 713-680-8100, or visit us on the web, noblemoney.com, noblemoney.com.
NMLS 292143 8203.
Yeah, I think
Willow Hills Drive,
Trump's going to
Houston,
show up this
Texas,
weekend.
77070.
Yeah.
I have a hat around here somewhere.
Oh, yeah, you do.
100 houses.
Yeah, it's in
Is it in the break room?
It is in the break room on top of the file cabinet.
Excellent. I want it looking over our staff.
Coming up
Nice.
October 20th, 29th, and 30th here
It's
at Houston
huge.
City Center. We're teaching our students how to find.
Man, this is
fund,
nuts.
and
Just
market for
our
real estate
video,
deals. So if you wanna
we've
learn
reached
how to do
210
200 houses
people
like
during
we
the
have,
show.
come to that
Wow.
event, go to rightpathrealestate.com.
Yeah, this one will break 1,000
or give us
easy.
a call 281-888-9555.
Because this show is huge.
Join a group of hardworking investors willing to share.
I'm
their
really
knowledge
enjoying
and
you sharing
experience with others. We're not
your
just another
blueberries and
guru-driven
oatmeal
club.
with us
We're a community
over the
of
audio.
Houston's most
It's nice.
successful real estate investors. Discover more at richradio.org. The Realty
It
Investment
was nice getting here early today. It was almost like having a real job, like showing up early and instead of just like sitting at home checking emails.
The most informed community in Houston. Quickly discover your
I'm not the
investment
7:30 show up at work kind of guy.
I'm not either. I hate it. But but when I get here, it's like, man, there's nothing going on. Like there's not a bunch of emails and phone calls. So I think I might start being the 7 a.m. guy. Just getting here early and knocking a lot of
I'm
stuff.
more likely to be the 9 p.m. guy.
Yeah, I don't. Sometimes I can do that, but with all the family stuff, it's getting harder.
Right.
Join our community to learn what it takes.
I just
to make
realized that,
money in Houston. Visit
there's so many
richradio.org.
networking events that
That's
we kind of need to be at.
This is a special notice to all U.S.
If I work from
taxpayers.
10 a.m.
If
to
you owe the
9
IRS
p.m.,
or
that's a
state
good solid
back
day.
Yeah, that's a solid day.
To pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial
Well, it's like the
hardship many
networking
are
stuff.
facing in
Like,
Well, and it's very
like
that
this
the
week could
IRS
be
has made it
absolutely
easier
nuts
to
if we
settle
wanted,
delinquent
because we've
tax
got there's
problems
one
through a
tonight,
federal
there's
program
one Thursday
called
night, and there's our
Are you
events
going
on-
tonight?
No, I'm not going
This
tonight.
program
I got to
will
dress
resolve
up,
your
and I'm like,
tax
I'm not dressing up.
problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back
and even
taxes
Yeah, you
by
lost me on the
up to
dress up.
90%.
Yeah,
You
I'm
are
like, I'm not
facing
doing that.
wage
I think our
shortages,
staff is going to go.
Yeah, right.
And then
audits, or
Thursday night,
payroll
I want to go to that, but
taxes.
I've
we got to
already.
get them name tags.
Your circumstances
Yeah,
will
we're not
qualify
doing
you
name
for
tags.
this special program.
And then
Protecting
Thursday
your
night,
and
you
your
know, is the big
assets. If you
big
owe
thing
the
at
IRS or
Quest,
state back taxes
which is
and
going to
cannot
be
afford to
just
pay them back,
absolutely
there's
awesome.
No need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free
That's gonna change a lot,
call
Friday.
800-417-9269.
What's going to change a lot Friday? Oh, I see what you're saying.
417-9269. That's 800-417-9269.
Are you a realtor or seller that is concerned
seconds,
about the
guys.
new TRID rules and closing on time? I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer at Legacy Mutual Mortgage, and we have
Chris, you
mastered
should
the
be
30-day
watching the
close.
show, not
We close
texting
on
me.
time, accurately, and with
Hey, do you have a
tons
second
of
to chat?
communication. You'll have a dedicated team of a coordinator and a contract to close associate. Give me a call today at 713-579-3611, and let's talk about how we can help you on your next transaction.
Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. NMLS 514497.
This is Business 1110.
Welcome back.
All right,
Oops.
All right, fellas, hot mics. Here we go.
Welcome back. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate. One of these days, we're
Hey,
gonna be
Nikki,
good at
what
ring-
game are you playing?
No, I wasn't playing a game. I had to go grab the engineer.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, she's working hard. Our what does Rush Limbaugh always call it? My highly overrated staff. Anyway, so we're back. Jason Bible, Tom Perry. This is a short segment. Look, folks, if you want to build a real estate portfolio and get out of the am I going to lose my job today? Corporate rat race, and what are we going to do if the company tanks and then I got to find another job, or
Well, I hear
you're worried
the
about
market's down 80 today. So if you've got money in the market, you can be loving today.
Well, and then if you're looking at retirement, what am I going to do for retirement? I've got this money in all these companies, and God only knows what their management team's doing or how much leverage they have or what's going to happen with taxes, all that kind of stuff. I highly recommend you come to our class, learn how to invest in single-family real estate, and, of course, depending on who wins the election, I guess, and some of the tax implications of that, you're going to need a lot of debt leveraged properties. I was in a dinner a couple of months ago. It was about 2.5 hour dinner with some gentlemen that all we talked about is tax implications of the election, what that means to our businesses and our personal finances. And look, folks, if we think it's going to go the way it's going to go, you're going to need as many debt leverage properties in your personal portfolio as possible. I mean, it's just. I'm watching Facebook, and I'm reading all the Obamacare premiums. We're talking about stuff that's doubled. And Tom and I were chatting about it this morning. For guys like us, we just go out and buy another couple of houses. For the regular W-2 employee, what do? I mean, you really can't do anything. I mean, got to buy more houses. It's really what it comes down to. So weekend retreats this weekend starts Friday morning at about 9. If you go to rightpathrealestate.com or send Jamie an email, JAMIE at Right Path Real Estate, we can get you signed up for that class. It's going to be a great class. This is a business meeting. This is not a sales pitch. It's not a run around the room and clap and all that other nonsense if you've been to any of those other sorts of meetings. This is a business meeting. We take it we don't take it super seriously. I mean, we take it seriously, the subject. We're going to have a good time in there. But
we laugh a bit.
We laugh a bit.
We might clap a few times.
We might clap a few times. We're going to have some great stories and some funny stories and that sort of thing. But it's a business meeting. Your retirement, your legacy is serious business, and we treat it so. And come on down for the weekend retreat. It's going to be just a heck of a lot of fun. So what other comments do you have about the weekend retreat, Tom?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, we're going to cover we had so much information that we couldn't fit it in a 2-day class anymore. So because we've added a lot of information, and we're going to have some good guest speakers. Quest IRA is going to come in and talk. Yeah. Fast Track's going to come in and talk. I mean, you get to meet these people that are vendor sponsors. If you haven't met them already, you get a chance to meet and ask them questions right on the spot.
Yeah, grab Nate and go, hey, I'm thinking about doing this with an HSA, maybe doing
or Coverdale.
And then grab the Fast Track guys. Yeah. Fast Track guys are going to break it down for you, how to estimate a rehab walking into a house in like 10 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic presentation. Daryl from Noble will be there. We'll tell you all the ins and outs of financing. And then, of course, we'll be there the whole weekend. So,
all right, I'll be in the studio tomorrow. See you then.
You can put the fear behind you and listen every day.
All right, we'll see you Friday, Nikki. That's the next time we'll both be on.